Hello, everyone. Welcome to Hard Knock Hawks. I am Anthony, along with my other three hosts, Marco, Chris, and Leon. Today, we are going to be discussing the highlights and lowlights of the past two games: a 125 to 120 victory against the Charlotte Hornets, and a 128 to 104 loss to the OKC Thunder. I'm going to start with this question to Marco. What do you think was the best thing and worst thing for the Hawks elements starting this season? And I'll just go around the room asking this question too.
Are we basing it off the 2, 3 games that just passed, or are we just saying in
Yes.
general? I mean, shit, that's all we have.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hey
Go
man,
ahead.
I know everybody's gonna say the Jalen one, so I'm not even gonna tackle that. We know what's going on with that. Non-Trey minutes. Uh, that's a big problem. It's like when Trey gets off the floor, it's the same issue we had back in 20. It's the same issue we had back in our ECF run until we got Lou Will. And we started playing Delon a little bit more too. Same problem. When Stray gets off the floor, we have nobody to really push to run the offense. Jalen isn't comfortable to do that yet. V is more of a connective player to me versus being the playmaker or whatever. I've never seen V like that, but he had a decent enough handle, I guess, to handle that position. Um, Outside of that, I think everything else has been kind of fine. With the OKC game, you kind of the problems we had showed a lot more. Especially Jalen as well. Jalen's slow start isn't helping anything, but hey, at least Trey is on one, I guess. Like I said, no Trey, non-Trey minutes are a big factor. You take away the primary ball handler, we're cooked again. So we need to focus on the backup point guard minutes or whatever. Other than that, I think we've been fine so far. Risa has been decent. It looks more comfortable on offense now. Once that three-point shot starts to fall, it'll fall. He'll be a threat. The people I've been hating on, Dre has been solid. Um, Onyeka has been solid. Yeah. So
I guess you can go next, Chris or Leon, and then I'll go.
Those are the options, right? Leon,
Yeah.
do you want to go?
Yeah, I'll go. The question was things you liked, things you didn't like. Um, Things I liked, Shay's confidence. He's making pretty quick decisions. He was a lot more decisive in this game in his first start against the Thunder than he was in the first two games. And like Marco said, his three balls not falling. But we saw a flash today, the little pull up midi, kind of a quick hitter, just driving to the middle of the lane, getting to your spot, going up, hitting the shot. Um, so that was encouraging for him in the short term and the long term. And then you know the defensive just fight of the team overall. Obviously, Dyson Daniels' career high in the Charlotte game, and we needed all those points to win. It seemed like so that was big, I would say. But the lowlights are Jalen Johnson is clearly still adjusting to the added attention that he's getting, and he's not being as aggressive as you would want him to be. Uh, he does look confused. He does look unsure. We gotta find a way to get this guy going. He just and this was a game where that was bound to happen because the Thunder they speed you up with how aggressive they are defensively. They force you to make quicker decisions because those windows close so fast because of all the length they have and their anticipation on the perimeter, how connected they are, the continuity that they have as a team, having guys that have been together for a number of years now, even without Hardy. Um, and then some of the that we've always had. Centers can park under the paint as long as Clint's out there. I think this would have been a game where I would have liked to see some more Nance than I did, considering I saw none. But yeah, like we just played a really good team when we lost, and late in the game that happens. The non-trade minutes have been an issue, and the two biggest guys that were supposed to help kind of soften that blow, really three, if we're being honest, because we talked about possibly Drake coming off the bench. He was off, right? He was out tonight. Obviously, Bogey is dealing with a hamstring issue. Hopefully, he's back soon. And Kobe is exploring his options with the shoulder. So those are really the top three guys off the bench if you just kind of mark the starters for tonight and we didn't have them. Or if not top, I mean, definitely ball handlers, even though Dre is suspect as a ball handler. As a bench third option just to handle the ball, he's pretty good. So, it was tough. It was a tough game to lose, especially kind of how we lost it. But I'm not off the train or anything. It's just tough watching the team struggle in some of the ways it's been struggling in the past few years.
So my turn. Well, what I haven't liked, I'll just quickly go, is definitely, I mean, I think we're all concerned a little bit about Jalen. I think a lot of it is early season. His legs might not be completely under him. There's new reads he's got to make, so there's going to be some film work. And I think we all have faith in Jalen to do the work it takes to get through this. What I have liked is the new additions and what they've brought. Dyson and Zach have been playing really strong defense. There's a lot of effort, and their size has really been impactful, at least growing pains or not. David Roddy played well tonight. I would like to see Larry Nance. Kobe obviously is still out, but overall, the new additions that Landry has made to the team have paid dividends in the first few games. And I'm looking forward to see what they can do moving forward.
For me, the main positive thing that I can get from like these past two, or I should say 3 games, is that I'm starting to feel like the defense that we have been seeing for these past few games is legit. Like, I think you can say that we are building a good defensive foundation, especially with Dyson on the floor. We're generating a lot of ball pressure. We're able to get actual stops, especially with the Hornets game where we were able to actually close it out successfully by fouling out LaMelo and just able to just score and like stop the Hornets from scoring in the clutch. Like, I think it does show that we do have like an actual formula of being able to defend as a team well compared to other years. I think my main concern is that we aren't shooting enough threes or enough. I think when you look at the roster from the beginning, there was always a concern that there wasn't really enough shooting on it. But especially since AJ decided to AJ got traded, they retired, and then like we don't necessarily have like the best shooters, which is why like we drafted players like Reese Shea, we kept Gary Bird on the team. So you expect like more of our players to be more aggressive, but they haven't really been shooting as much as I thought they would, which is honestly, I think, kind of frustrating. I think to see, because I think you're gonna start to see teams like just starting to like close out on the paint more, which is just gonna make it harder to defend in the future. And I just wish we just start shooting more threes and just make the floor more open, stuff like that. But we'll just go ahead, just talk more about, I think, Jalen, because I think that's the thing that everyone wants to talk about. Because I have seen people just freak out about him for like, especially after the Thunder game. Like, if you ask me, it's only the 3rd game of the season. I think like you, Leon, and Marco, and Chris, like, I think he is just adjusting into a new role. So we'll just see what happens with him. But if it's like, for me, if it's like game 10, I would just start freaking out. Well, not freaking out, but like be concerned. But what are your guys' thoughts?
I mean, I did actually tweet about this because, like, one, I think a lot of people are seeing the contract and they're like, second option. We're like, yes, for right now on this team, he likely is the second option. He's not being paid like a true second option. We're getting a player that we think could be that for us one day. for third option money right now. He actually got a little bit like 500K less than Jalen Suggs. So just to put that in reference, right? He's not like breaking the bank. This wasn't a max. He didn't sign some super max. Like his contract is not prohibitive moving forward. And he's still 22 years old. But yeah, there's still over 70 games left. Jalen is in a completely new role. The unit he's running right now is not even at full strength. He doesn't have Kobe, who's supposed to be with him, another guard. Bogey should be there. So I think Jalen just needs some time to get into a rhythm and understand what he's seeing so that he can play faster and he's not thinking. I think you can tell right now that he's kind of not processing as quickly as he usually does, and his advantage is his speed, right? And he's not able to use that right now. I think he'll figure it out. Yeah, you just got to get in the lab. Trey and Quinn, they're too smart to not find a way to get Jalen involved. Whether that's getting them looks off ball more, I think hopefully that's something they might turn to. Let him get set up on the block and just see the ball go through the rim, and let him just get some touches there. But yeah, we'll see. I'm sure he'll snap out of it soon.
I guess. Oh, you want to go, Lee? Oh, okay. I guess I'll go. Man, I'm not worried about Jalen, man. What I'm seeing so far is disappointing, but he's stepping up into a second role, bigger role than what he had last year. A lot of people ignore that he was playing with a lot of people ignore the context of last season of Jalen. Trey and DeJounte were taking so much attention that all Jalen had to do was run and get to an open spot, easy 16, easy do what he needs to do. You run, you're going to get the ball because they're not focused on you, especially when this is your first real season starter, first real season in a bigger role. They're focused on the team's other sheet. They're focused on Trey and DeJounte. Now that Jalen has had this season, he's an actual focus on other teams' bingo cards. Now you have to worry about Jalen. What does Jalen like to do? Jalen likes to drive, so you have to cut off whatever. Jalen has to get used to be actually being played against now, to where the game has to come back to him. People freaking out over 3 games, man. It's 3 games. Trey, we used to be concerned about Trey slow starts. Then Trey plays like he's the best point guard of all time. Let it come to him. Don't be stressed. Whatever it is, whatever, man.
Yeah, he just looks really timid out there again. It's been a while since we saw that. It's nothing to like really place major concern on at the moment, but he's taken on more ownership defensively, and I think I can say, although he does get carried away at times and can get a little bit lost, that he is actually giving it some brain power and some effort. So we saw that with the big block on the dunk attempt by, I want to say, Usman Jang, I think it was, but don't quote me. No, it was Isaiah Joe, but that was still a great block, great defensive play. He's seeing more bodies, as I said in the intro, than he has been in his career, and missing some major pieces. Our two best shooters out of the corner, and Kobe, who at least projected to be a good shooter. So yeah, it looks bad right now for a lot of those reasons. He's just gotta, you know, he's really just gotta put his foot on the pavement and start really getting after it, really getting those easy buckets first, and then we'll focus on everything else. Because we're not seeing the midi work a lot. He didn't get to the line tonight. I still think the biggest problem that's going to hold him back on the long term is going to be Capella anyways. Because, like we said, you've got a really good shot blocker parking himself in the paint for the entire game. It's not going to be great for a guy who already is not super. Like, I think one of the main reasons Jalen suffers around the rim, like most of the guys on our team suffer around the rim, is because we don't have any spacers at the 5. Right, so I think this would have been a night where I would have liked to see Nance for a spell just to see what it looked like. I think getting Nance on the floor would really get Jalen going, just to give him a confidence boost before we start going into the that 4-game skid of, I think it's Pelicans, Kings, Celtics, Knicks is where we finish out our first 10, I believe, after these two Wizards games, where we'll be at game 5. I think that there must be another game before that I'm not thinking of. But
it's Kings, New Orleans, Boston, and then New York.
Kings, Pels, Boston,
Yeah.
New York, and then
Detroit.
Okay, yeah. Okay. So it's those 4 games. I think I'd like to see Nance out there to play with a number of different guys just to get their confidence up a little bit more, getting to the rim, hopefully getting to the line before we start playing the big boys in the middle of November.
Yeah, to that point, I would like to. I mean, part of me is thinking that like Jalen and Onyeka play so well together that because the way Onyeka's playing, I think he does have a shot to take that job, the starting job, and I think that would be a way to really get Jalen going because Onyeka does give you a bit of that floor spacing, right? He can be in the corner. He had a corner 3 tonight. He had a 3 in game 2 above the break. I think he's hit a 3 in all 3 games now. Has he?
I don't think
wrong,
he didn't hit 3 in.
He didn't hit the game. He didn't hit a 3 in the first game. He hit a 3 in the past 2. So in the home opener he didn't hit a game, but like Hornets and this in OKC he hit a 3. So he's basically like 2 out of 3.
Okay, so he has. So I mean, we've seen him hit a couple now. And he was in the corner when he was with Jalen for some minutes tonight, and I just think that might be a way to get Jalen going, just to space it. So he and Trey can do a little bit more of the 2-man game because tonight they were just they were cutting off every pass to Jalen if they were doing a little screen and roll for him, and it's just really hard to get him on the short roll where like he does so much damage, right? But they were over helping from the opposite corner early, like real pre-rotating stuff. Like their coach dialed up some stuff, and Charles Lee also did a really good job of really mucking up the paint. They had their forwards down low, and obviously Nick Richards. And Jalen's the type that wants to make the right play, and part of his new job is realizing that like the right play is for him to create a shot, and try to get to the line if he can. And honestly, one thing I want him to take a note out of what Onyeka was doing earlier with the just slow power dribble on the way to the basket. I really would Jalen's got to find ways to get his momentum going and to finish strong. And I think once he can do that, everything in his game will come together because he's not shooting poorly from 3 right now. He's taking them when they're there. He wants to really get to the rim. I think that's what you're seeing, Leon, when you're saying like he's passing up threes because I think like in his head he's like, my job on this team is to like get to the rim, and when he's not doing that, I think that's like bugging him. So I think manufacturing some type of way to get him paint touches early would be a really good way just to get his momentum going in games. But I'm sure Quinn will come up with something. He's coaching him hard. I think anyone that could hear the broadcast tonight, there was Quinn was very upset and he was loud. And he and Jalen had a few words. Well, Quinn had words. Jalen kind of wanted to get away. So yeah, I think they'll get that right.
Yeah, Hawks are very much in a figuring it out stage. I sound congested. Allergies been kicking my ass, but Hawks are very much in that figuring out stage. You got new players. You got an actual defense this year. That's new for them. You have an actual defense this year that was pretty much was playing OKC well until like late in the 4th, early in the 4th. It kind of just broke down. But they're in that figuring it out stage. Some easy corrections. Jalen's in that figuring out part that he has to be Jalen and not make the extra pass Jalen because he was doing that a lot. He had a clear lane, would pass it. I don't know. Everybody, like I said, everybody's in that figuring out. The only person who's probably clicking right now is Trey because that's Trey. He's year 7. He knows what he needs to do at this juncture in his career. Like I said, you got to hope for the best. 2 games against the Wizards coming up. I feel like that'll be a good rebound for them to finally get back on track. I agree with what Ant said earlier. I don't think we're getting up enough threes, And I think that was what really killed us this game. We weren't really shooting a lot because OKC took out the paint. Once you take out us driving to the paint, you kind of got us figured out at this point. Because right now we don't have Bogey. Trey's going to take his 10 threes a game. Dyson wasn't really hesitating shooting the threes tonight, but he wasn't making it, so it was kind of like I said, you get that man that dropped the ball. you get that you get that you get the paint covered, you figured us out. That's been a thing. So, and OKC is gritty. That's why I said earlier. I feel like it was good that we played this team earlier because now you can work on adjustments. Now you go and watch film. You be like, hey, right here, you didn't need to do that. You need to do this because OKC was playing the pass because they knew we were going to overpass it. A lot of the stuff we did tonight was just early mistakes, simple mistakes that could be corrected. It was nothing out of this game tonight that I felt like, wow, that's going to be a problem all season outside of the non-trade minutes. If you don't figure out the non-trade minutes soon, you're going to dig a hole that we don't need to be dug in. You either can cut Cody and just pay him his $3 million still. You're just going to have to eat that, and go get whoever the best person available you can. That's somewhere. Maybe he's on somebody's G League roster. Maybe he's in free agency, whatever. But you got to figure out something until Kobe gets back. You can't wait for Kobe to get back and be like, hey, we got the Kobe, we got the non-trade minutes figured out. That's something you got to correct right now. We can't get to game 10 and be like, yeah, we're still dealing with the same problem. That's not how this goes. So like I said, Hawks are figuring it out. And if you can get everybody on the same page 20 games in, you have a decent season. Defense already looks solid. Offense already looks solid without some – just need to ask when we're shooting. It's whatever.
My question is this. Do you think Quinn should just start playing Jalen with Trey more instead of just staggering Jalen with the backup with no Trey minutes at this point?
See, the problem with that now is if there's going to be no Dre, and your backup power forward is going to be David Roddy. I like David Roddy a lot. He's 6'4", so he just doesn't have. You kind of have to have like a second real big.
Couldn't Nance be the power forward?
Right. I do think Nance on Yeka front courts would work defensively, and
it wasn't going to work tonight.
Yeah,
well, not tonight. Tonight at points they had all guards on the floor. They were, and the thing is, their guards are demons. Like, if we're being honest, like the guys that they have are so good at just their scheme. They were getting into the paint. They were blowing everything up. They had Trey indecisive. Every player on our team was picking up the ball, not knowing where to go. They were having to reset constantly. They weren't able to. We weren't. Like what we've been talking about, what Dyson has done for our defense, their whole team was doing that to our offense today and just really disrupting us. And so this wasn't the game that Jalen was really going to get going. Like, you know what I'm saying? Unless he was just going to alpha male his way through that one and just sun people at the rim. Like that team was, they were going to make it really difficult for us to run our offense, particularly because we have to get downhill right now with the ball in our hands. And we don't have the bogey outlet pass early. Like so much of those hit-ahead passes, we're missing that. Dre brings a certain level of shot making that you're going to get those 12 attempts a game, right? And you're going to get a few threes, and he's going to be able to have a few possessions where he can just go around the screen and pull up. And Jalen still doesn't really have that. He tried a few times, but he's just not.
And we definitely needed those.
Yeah.
We needed those 5 or 6 possessions where Dre guards Shea.
Yeah.
We missed that. And like without Bogey and Dre, and like if we got who we wanted to start, like if we took tonight's starters, you're missing at least play like if 3 of your 4 through 9, right? So it's just it looks worse than it is, but those guys, if they're going to be out for an extended period of time, Jalen's just going to have to wake up, and that's the outside of Trey going nuclear career high against Blazers nuclear every game. Jalen's got to figure something out. If Dre and Bogey and Kobe are going to be out for an extended time.
And if we want to go a little bit deeper under the hood and potential planning, right? At the beginning of the season, they decide when they're going to like rest guys. We haven't done that too much before, but like if you're looking at our schedule and you're like, we have a back-to-back with the Thunder and then a team that we can beat, maybe we rest Dre against the Thunder because we know we're going to lose that game, even if we're at full strength, realistically, right? There's a solid chance we lose that game, even if we have everyone. So you save Dre for the Wizards and you give Zach and Jalen opportunities to do things against the Thunder that they wouldn't be able to do necessarily with Dre out there because they do know they have Dre to go to, and it's not like they're deferring, but I mean that's a solid part of our offense, right? But you take that out and now you're putting our guys in positions where they have to adapt and grow and learn. So it was great for even though we took the L, like Zach getting those opportunities, Jalen struggling, right? But even when you're struggling, there's lessons to learn. So I think that'll pay off in the long run. And hopefully they continue to do that, even if we drop games. One, it will keep Dre hopefully healthy. You can do it with Bogey. Ideally, you have Kobe when you do this, right? And some of your other guys are healthy, like Seth Lundy, who I think would have been really nice to have. But yeah, hopefully everyone gets healthy and we can start making decisions instead of being put in bad spots like tonight.
Yeah, once you get a full roster, I feel like it's a lot easier. Like I said, the guarantee coming into the season very much was the non-trade minutes will be shared between Kobe and Bogey, and you didn't have any plan after that.
Yeah.
Knowing that Bogey does still have knee issues, and you kind of just didn't plan after that. Even though this injury now is not a knee issue, it's a hamstring. It's kind of Bogey still has injuries.
Yeah.
So you just didn't. You had a plan B. You had a plan B. You just never went to plan C, D, E, F, G.
I mean, the C is Vit, and the thing with it being Vit is if it's just Kobe out, if it's just Bogey out, okay. If it's just Dre out, okay. But if it's going to be all three of them, that's like
I was like, damn.
10-3. That's like 10 threes a game.
Yeah.
I mean,
that you're asking
and
Vic
really,
or Roddy to take. You know what I mean? And Gary's going to get him up, but it's hard to. But like again, it's hard to play him from Trey because he's. I mean, it's hard to play him with Trey because he's 6'4" apparently, but barely, right? And not a super physical, despite how smart a player he is. He just shouldn't be out there.
It really does show. Like I tweeted about this too, about why Quinn went with Dre as a starter. Like I know we have our fun with him, but he is a consistent veteran now at this stage of his career. You know what you're going to get from him, and Jalen is still learning how to create his own shots. And when you put Dre in that starting lineup, you have a guy that Jalen can turn to. So Jalen can just play his game and move the ball, and Dre can give you that offense. Really lengthens our lineup defensively, man. Like not having him and Dyson together to start the game, and then being able to bring Zach in later on. Like you saw, they already had to go to David Roddy, which made us a lot smaller with our bench unit, and they had to bring Garrison Matthews in for extra minutes. Beat was overextended. Beat's been overextended for a lot longer. When we were playing the minutes game at the beginning of the year, it's funny. I was like, man, we got all these minutes accounted for. Like, man, I don't know when Dre's gonna be able to play. And like, we're 3 games in, and like, obviously, real life happens, and people are already hurt. And you're like, well, now these guys are playing double the minutes that we were thinking that they would be playing at the beginning of the year.
And Trey's playing like almost 40 minutes a game now. Like, it's so weird because like I think there was a theory with like without Trey minutes. Basically, it's like you don't need to be elite with like basically elite on offense without Trey on the court. But if you can like just stop teams from scoring, you'll be fine. And like we saw that with like the Thunder, like somewhat tonight. Mm-hmm. But eventually it just stopped working because the defense just died out. The dam broke, right? And like with the Hornets game, like the only way they were able to score was with free throws, especially in the third quarter of that game. Like I think they have no choice right now but to get a backup point guard if like Kobe Buckets hurt for like an extended period of time, simply because I don't think this is gonna be sustainable with Veet because he's not aggressive enough right now.
It's not that he's not aggressive
Yeah.
enough or whatever. Vita is just not a guard. Vita
Yeah,
is a
that is
connected
also true.
player.
Yeah,
He can play guard for short stints, but
Yeah.
how we're trying to play him, OKC shut that shit down too much. Even with
Yeah.
against the Hornets, it wasn't the best, but it was still serviceable because it's the Hornets. But now you're playing real teams, you're getting into these topper teams, these upper teams, and now you're like, damn, we can't keep that going. But again, like Leon said, Vit role was supposed to be if one or the other was out, not if both was out. Because now we're just in a hole.
Mhm.
And the thing is,
Yeah.
if you go get a backup point guard, you got to get somebody that when Kobe comes back, because you're going to have to make a decision on Kobe. Do you want Kobe back in the G, or do you want Kobe to get actual burn with the real team? So now when
Yeah,
you
I
get
think
him
if
back,
he's back, I think when he's back, he's gonna get that burn. They might throw him in
yeah,
the G
so
for
now
a
you have
game or two just to get him reacclimated. But
yeah,
I
so
do
now you got to make
wonder.
that decision on it.
I do wonder about that medical decision though, because if he needs surgery, I'm not sure what the timeline is going to be. And
If he needs surgery,
if
he's not
they
coming back until late
if
season.
they get
Yeah.
if depending on the player they get, it might be like we shut Kobe down for the season, honestly, and just have him rehab the whole year, and then maybe go down to the G League the second half of the season and just play to get reps. But the shoulders are really, really tough to get right, and they have to make sure he's 100% healthy. Otherwise, it's just going to be an issue the whole year. And if you bring in a real backup point guard, that guy's going to want to play.
Yeah.
And you don't want to have like him and Kobe like having to decide about who plays where. We
Yeah, so
finally
now
got
you're
rid
at
of all
that.
those issues. I don't want to have those again.
Now you're at that bridge. So I guess they could just be waiting to see how serious Kobe injury is. They could just be like, if you get the surgery, then yeah, we're gonna have to go get somebody. If they give you a non-surgery type timeline and you're back within a month, 2 months max, maybe. But personally, I still feel like 2 months is a long time. So can you keep sustaining what you have for those 2 months, or do you still have to go get somebody? That's what I'm saying. The guard you get, they have to be okay with taking that step back once Kobe comes back. You can't go get some Markel Fultz is not the answer. I'm using him as an example. You can't get Markel Fultz. Didn't expect Markel Fultz to be playing somewhat decent. Then be like, all right, we need you to go sit down because
Well,
now we got
it's
Kobe
super
back.
complicated, right? To that point, there's not many teams that are looking to sell
A
decent
guard right
point
there, yeah.
guards 3 games into the season, unless that guy hates where he is and he's asking out, right? So maybe we get lucky and some dude in the next 2 days wants to relocate, but realistically, their best chance to bring in like a solid backup point guard would be late December, January. But that honestly might be when Kobe is starting to get healthy again. So
Yeah,
now, like,
it's a complicated.
you have to decide if you want to like bring in a lesser guy now just to eat minutes, or do you want to try to get a quality guy and maybe overpay? I don't know if they have a good relationship with somebody in the league, but yeah, this is it's not an easy decision about who to bring in. They really have to like do their due diligence and
Now I will
look
say
for opportunities.
now we're focused on Kobe's injury timeline. It becomes much easier if you can get Bogey back by next week. If it's just like a slight hamstring, like I forgot who tweeted it earlier. They said Bogey. They only send Bogey out for
Hollinger. It
precaution.
was
Yeah,
Hollinger.
for precautionary reasons, not because they don't think it's something like real deep or deep. If you can get Bogey back by next week, then you might be okay because then you have Bogey and Veet. Bogey is naturally a point guard in his league and overseas. He can handle the ball at a decent enough clip to where you can kind of still get it fine. You got a Veet next to him. Veet can handle the ball. Okay, you can sustain it at that point. But now if you're missing both of them for a significant amount of time,
and he's also like the best shooter on the team, and that would help the spacing issues as well.
Yeah, if you had Jalen and Bogey out there and Beat is the one connecting them, or Kobe and Jalen and Beat's connecting. If Kobe's next to a ball handler and a scorer, I think he's really like that's when he really peaks because he can help that score get there, and he can when that ball handler gets trapped, right? He's really good at connecting the play. But
attacking that
if
space,
he
yeah.
has to be the ball handler and the creator, like that, like when he has to space it for Trey, like Trey and Veet minutes aren't the best together because Trey's looking to create and Veet's looking to facilitate.
Especially when
And
that's
Trey really needs
a
someone that's
shooter.
gonna shoot that thing, right? So yeah, it's tough.
It's tough.
But
Yeah,
oh, go ahead.
Catastrophe.
Yeah, that's my name on here.
Yeah,
Supposed to be
I got it.
catastrophe. Yep.
Yeah, I got
It's
it.
tough right now. It's a decision to make, and hopefully a decision will come, by next week. Like I said,
Yeah, I don't think
Wizards.
they're gonna do anything. I don't think they're adding anybody, honestly.
I just said a decision. I didn't say sign anybody because you still have to
I'm
figure
just
out what
saying, I think the
you're not
decision
going to.
not
The
adding
thing is,
anybody.
what I mean by decision, you're not going to let Cody collect his free check. You're not going to let him sit out the whole 82 games.
The $12 million that Tony got from the non-taxpayer bonus or whatever, that $12 million, it can either go to Cody or it can go to the portion of DeJounte Murray's salary that they have to pay over the next 4 years. I vote it goes to Cody so you can buy him out and sign somebody or trade him for something like.
Yeah,
But
that might be the way out of the backup point guard thing, right? They can find someone they can trade for Cody and get a guy, but I don't know. It's a complicated situation. I really don't know what they're gonna do about that.
Yeah, but anyway, like I said, Wizards back to back, you got to win those. Hopefully, Dre doesn't hit those games. Those are 2 games you need to win because again, that's a team on paper you should beat. Wizards have not shown me anything that I need to be scared of so far, but those were one of the teams we struggled with last year early on. But we still ended up winning the season series. So, win the game, go out there, do what you need to do, and handle business. Don't treat them like they're the lesser. Don't play down to their pace. Play like how you need to play. Get them out of there so we can regroup, go to the next game. Be fine. Because if we can, like I said, if we can end these first 10 games at 7-3, that's a dub.
That's a solid start.
That's a solid start to your season.
Let's actually talk about one person, the French connection, Big Za, because I do think Big Rich, exactly. Because I do think he's been under discussed a little bit. I think he's been really good these past few games for the most part. Like I wish he would take a few more threes, but like I love how he's been attacking the rim and how competitive he's been on defense. I feel like honestly, like him and Trey are like have been some of like the best players on offense, like for the past few games, because it just seems like they're just going with the flow on offense and stuff. They're like Ricochet's cutting, like he's trying to make the right plays, even though like I want him to be more aggressive. He's gonna be, I think he's gonna be good. I don't know what else you can say about him.
He's really smart.
Yeah, he's smart. Like
I think it stood out when Trey doesn't really like. I think other people talk about Trey doesn't really compliment people too much openly. I mean, part of that is like he just doesn't talk that much. But for him to like go out of his way to talk about how smart Zach was and the reads he was making, and I mean it's something that really jumps off the screen right away. You can see it, the reads, the cuts, the drives. Like Leon's talked about like how Trey creates advantages, but like people can't maintain those advantages. But that's something that Zach does really, really well. When he gets someone smaller on him and he gets the ball, he's gonna make sure he gets his shot up and he's gonna get as close to the rim as possible if that guy's little. And he did that a few times tonight against some really good defenders. I don't think he even cares who they are. He might not know who they are. But yeah, he's really confident and really smart. The feel is there, and he's an exciting young player, man. This is a tough team, and I don't think he cared one bit.
Yeah, he was just playing his regular game. Like I said, he's confident already, and he's getting a natural feel of the game. It's just the 3-point shot is going to fall eventually. You keep shooting it, it's bound to hit. I don't know the difference between the 3-point line from his league versus this league.
I think it's shorter.
Is it?
Yeah, I think it is.
I'm just take your word for it. So it's just getting used to
There's a shorter, yeah, definitely is.
Yeah, so it's just him getting used to the actual NBA court, doing this thing. He's already confident driving the ball. He's not afraid to put the ball on the floor and actually take it to the hole. He did a couple moves in the post that I found interesting against OKC. So I feel like he'll be all right. Give him his little, introductory games because again, he's a rookie. As much as we don't look at him as a regular rookie, he's still a rookie at the end of the day. So, you got to give him his little 10, 15 games to really get acclimated. And once he figures it out, it's actually pretty scary because
Yeah.
if Dre continues to play as he's playing, and then you have Risa, or if you get confident enough to start Risa, and you still have Dre coming off the bench, it's kind of you got a decent wing pairing,
Yeah.
there. So
Especially if Jalen wakes up too, like it's gonna be
he'll
scary
wake up.
hours. Yeah.
Trust me, he'll wake up. The whole thing about I hate to go back to Jalen right now. The whole thing of Jalen right now is it's the Kyle Pitts thing over and over. It's the Kyle Pitts situation over.
But
I don't know where
No,
Leon
yeah.
went
I
to.
mean, I have no worries about Jalen. I'm positive he's gonna be fine. He just has
Yeah.
to get going. And
I-
honestly, I don't think his legs are there yet. He's not jumping the way he usually does and move. I think Quinn's running the mess out of him. That's my guess.
It's we'll just see how this team adapts over the next few games because I think it's gonna be interesting because we are gonna be playing more serious teams, especially after Washington. We have Sacramento and Sunday. Not I said Sunday. That's not a team. New Orleans next. Which I do want to ask y'all this about the few games that we have before we close it out. What do you guys think our record will be for these next few games? So we have Washington twice, and then Sacramento and New Orleans, because we're gonna be back next week for our next episode. So, what do you guys think?
All right. Also, let's keep track of these so that
Yeah. Okay.
we know how much better I am than y'all at this.
Oh. Okay. All right. Okay. I'll remember this. I'm writing it down now.
Damn. You said Sacramento? Are we at Sacramento? I don't have a schedule in front of me.
Nope. We're not.
It's here.
Yep. We're at home.
Hey, we've been pretty good at beating
I'm gonna
Sacramento at
say
home.
2-1. I wanted to say 3-0, but I'm gonna say 2-1.
Oh, we're playing 4 games, so it's so we're doing like the little
said...
Wizards series thing. So it's Wizards at the Wizards, and then the Wizards are gonna come to us at home, and then it's Sacramento. I mean Pelican. We're going to the Pelicans, and then back home to play the
Celtics. And
you got it backwards. Backwards. It's Kings at home, and then the Pelicans on the road. So it's
thank you.
Wizards at home at Wizards, then Kings at home at Pelicans.
Yeah, there we go. Thank you.
So we're picking 4 games right now?
Yeah, 4 games.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
1 day rest between each one.
I can see 3-1 in that, but I need Dre to be healthy. But yeah, if we're healthy, I can see 3-1
for those last 2. I need Dre for those last 2 for sure.
Yeah,
we've been pretty.
We got DeRozan, Murray. They got some bigger forwards on those teams.
Yeah.
That's when we'll need Dre for sure.
We've been pretty good against the Kings in the last 2 seasons. I do want to point that out, especially at their place. I think the last times we played at their place, I'm pretty sure we won because I remember DeJounte had a game-winning steal.
Yeah.
Then the next time we played them there, we beat them by like 10. I'm pretty confident about the Kings game.
We need to lose it, by the way. It's best for us to drop that one.
Nah, we need to win.
Get that pick.
Oh yeah, that's right. But I say 4-1. If we're counting those Celtics and Knicks games too.
Okay.
No, we're just going I'm saying I got us going 4-0 in these games.
All right.
I expect Jalen to wake up in the next week.
I know you would.
Hey man, and if Jalen wakes up, I don't think those teams can beat us. Being honest,
the Pelicans game should be a lot.
I agree with
simply
you.
Because they have no point guard.
Yeah, it's gonna be CJ out there, and it's Dyson's going back to New Orleans.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to be extra motivated for that, I would think.
Man, I think
let's see his old work.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm little more pessimistic. I think I'm gonna go 2-2. I don't know why. I just have a really bad feeling about one of these Washington games. And I think Sacramento, especially because I don't know if Dre or Bogey are going to be healthy by the time we play.
I just
either.
want to let you know the
Okay.
Wizards are starting Alex Sarr at center.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, that's true. That's true.
I'm just saying.
Kuzma is shooting the worst percentages in the entire league right now.
He is? You're serious?
It would be great if Jalen could get going against the Wizards, right? That would be a great opportunity.
Against the same opponent. You know what they're going to throw at you. Yeah, because which one? It's when we go to Washington, he should be hitting the ground. Like he needs to put his feet on the pavement, right? When we talk about hitting the ground running, he clearly just hasn't even hit the ground yet. Like,
all right, I'm going to change it to 3-1. I'll just say we're going to lose.
Stand up. You know?
Okay.
We're not doing this.
Okay. All right. I'll stick. Okay. I'll stick with my 2-2. Okay.
Flip flopping.
No.
You have no
4-0.
All right.
I'll say 3-1, but 4-0. I'm on the train.
All right.
Marco's on 4-0.
Yep.
3-1.
So Marco 4-0, Leon 4-0. I'm 2-2, and Chris is 3-1.
2-2 is crazy.
Yeah, I'm just kind of pessimistic, but we'll improve throughout the season.
We're gonna record again before those games are done. So
yeah,
yeah, because we're gonna do after the Kings game.
Yeah,
what are we doing Wednesdays and Sundays? When's the next?
Also, if you've made it this far into the episode, can you please like and subscribe? Thank you so much for listening.
Y'all
appreciate your support.
You need to rock with us. Don't miss the spaces, man. I promise those spaces will be more civilized in the future.
They will.
Yes.
I don't know.
Yes, we're not letting.
Okay, I'm sorry. I didn't know we were doing that.
Yes.
Put your kids to bed before the spaces.
Yes, please.
But all right then. We'll see y'all on the next episode of Hard Knock Hawks, and we'll see if our predictions come true or not.
Go Big Rich. Go Double D.
Dying Daniels. Caw-caw.